Hello, everybody. Welcome back to United Rogue Overwatch. And we are here in this week one of Sapphire with Montreal Nightmare. Sorry, not Stags anymore. It's the Nightmare versus Detroit. And we're going to be here with Foliage. Go ahead.
Yo, how you doing?
So,
Money.
we're gonna think. Actually, hold on. I'm facing now. Foliage. What are the top matchups of this matchup?
Take a look here. Well, this is going to be Montreal versus Detroit for week one of Sapphire, as we just mentioned. I think that both of these teams actually have a lot of interesting pieces on them. I don't really think. I think there's only a few newcomers on Detroit and Montreal. Between the two, there's a few Sapphire mainstays. I see Saucepan coming back again for another season as the GM of Montreal. Did a web on tank, was solid last season.
It looks. Hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It looks like Montreal. Oh, sorry. Detroit will be going with the Tracer ban.
Oh, first ban in. All right. Maybe targeting someone in particular on the side of on the side of Montreal, but I'm not 100% certain. What actually a lot of these players, I mean, it's week one, right? So I think that there's a lot of hidden information about a lot of the players in the lobby. The Tracer seems like a safe ban. Tracer is very, very strong right now.
Actually, 100% agree with you on that.
So
Tracer
we'll have to see.
He's a pretty powerful character when it comes to Ilios, because the flanks.
Yeah, we didn't mention it, but Ilios is our first map. You can play a lot of dive on Lighthouse and Well if you really wanted to. Ruins, obviously, I think a little bit more brawl heavy, but I think that there's a lot of opportunities here for a little bit of experimentation. Banning Tracer definitely shuts down a little bit of the dive angle, but you could still see something like a Genji Echo. But I think that the door is wide open here for these teams to approach it however they want to.
And Montreal will be banning Juno. That's a bit interesting.
Okay. I don't know if that's targeted or not, depending on hero pools. If Detroit was going to rely on a Juno, maybe they don't have a Lucio player. We'll have to see what happens. I think that they'll probably end up being fine. So yeah, going into this, I actually think the series is pretty interesting. I think that one of the players I'd like to keep an eye on throughout the whole series is Lycus. I think he had a pretty strong showing in the tryouts. Very, very mechanically strong player. But other than that, I think Monkeel on Detroit is also another interesting rookie. I thought his Lucio was actually pretty good. So maybe looking at like the matchup between those two be interesting to see as the series progresses. We're just kind of waiting to get in the lobby now. Do you have any predictions, Inky?
Honestly, this could go either way. If Plaza and Montreal can get their stuff together and kind of get the team flowing, then if the backline can do its thing, healing the tank, healing the DPS, Detroit can progress. Montreal can get their team going. Again, it's either way. But it looks like Detroit will be ready to go in. But as the match is getting close to ready.
Nothing really. We're just kind of waiting to get in the map.
Yeah.
It's taking a little bit. Teams got to get ready, you know. Oh I mean, sometimes it bugs
Well,
out. You
looks
know,
like
Overwatch
we're
isn't
in the
perfect.
game now, so sorry for that long interruption.
Initiating match.
One person to really keep an eye out, I would say, is Quaza at the moment.
Oh yeah, Koza had a pretty good season last time he was in UR.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a player to keep an eye on as the series progresses.
Looks like
But I think I always
for
think.
Montreal, they're going to go with Orisa to start off with. That's interesting on this map. Going
I mean, I
more
think it's
rush
pretty safe
heavy.
for ruins, pretty standard. You can play rush on
Yeah, Quaza with the Sierra. Okay. What Sierra will do.
5, 4,
Detroit angling some double hit scan. Montreal, obviously, heading in the Pharah is going to be a lot of high-end pressure. We'll have to see if Lycus can stay alive. Telios can keep him up. It might be very, very dangerous. A lot of spam damage from the Pharah. But both teams are kind of angling forward right now. Lucio amp out. Flutter Weevil
Whistle
progressing
low.
point here with the
Whistle
barrier.
very low.
Orisa very low HP. Looks like teams are both kind of shooting each other, poking out, looking for an
Ooh, that's a
opening
good
right
steal
now.
from
Flutter Weevil falls pretty
Ditto.
low. Both tanks under a lot of pressure from the DPS of both sides here. Quaza has a good angle, looking for maybe a tracker dart on this far. Not quite.
That's good steal
Point is
from
open,
Ditto.
and Montreal is taking first control here. Not quite. Both teams still poking each other, looking for an opening
It
here.
looks like
Pharah firing rockets, hoping that something.
Montreal will be taking the point. Yeah.
Yeah, Montreal get first flip. Honestly, it feels like it's kind of both teams kind of forcing each other out here. Montreal
Ditto gets
really
Brown.
backing up. There goes Brown, first pick of the match. Orisa finds the
Ditto
opening.
gets Quaza.
Quaza gets cut. Maybe that anchor drone didn't take him where he wanted to go, and that'll be a first fight win for Montreal and a free 20%.
And Brown switched to Ash. That could be a really interesting comp. Let's see how that turns out. With
Yeah. Bastion puts a lot of pressure onto the Orisa here, but it's going to be very, very tempo oriented. So we'll have to see if they play around the form correctly. Flutter Weevil falling low, getting poked out. Lycus here, very, very close to that barrage. Orisa coming up on the Terra Surge as well. A lot of alts coming online for the side of Montreal here. We have to see if we want to dump them early.
and here comes the
Comes
Graviton.
Flutter Weevil with a big graphitic flux, ends up finding one. Saucepan falls, Lycus falls, DPS are down on the side of Montreal, not what you want to see. Ditto Web ends up trading one out with the Terror Surge. Tempo finds Flutter Weevil, Monkey down. It's only Tempo on the side of Montreal, and I have to imagine that'll be a fight win for Detroit, but it costed Montreal a little bit there. 3 ults, no fight win. 66% for them though. That early point percentage might come back to bite Detroit a little bit, but for now they're in control.
Let's see. Bastion going really low. Bastion will go
Ooh,
down.
good opening pick from Saucepan. Good opening pick from Saucepan. That's exactly what you want to see into this too. That's a lot of the Bastion pressure down. Lycus, falling a little bit low here, but they're going to be able to force their way back in. Monkey falls. That early pick there ends up being costly. Detroit loses the objective. 70% of the point for Montreal here. They're approaching the last fight. They still have the beat and the high noon. Ditto Web off to the Sigma as well. We didn't really talk about that before, but that's going to shut down a lot of the pressure from that Bastion. Detroit coming up on 4 ults though. We'll have to see if they want
on the
to.
ultimates on the Detroit side though.
And yep, there it is. There's a Kitsune Rush and the beat to try and take this point really, really aggressive. Detroit dumping everything that they have. Tempo, good counter beat there. Maybe buys a little bit of space. Point is being ran over by Detroit. Bob on the objective ends up getting the flip here, and Detroit wins the fight pretty convincingly. Still trying to push this advantage here, kind of pushing into the spawn of Montreal, trying to find anything else that they can get here to try and make the map more even. Lycus coming up on another barrage, Ditto Web coming up on another
Ilios now has
flux here.
her Kasune. Barrage coming back. And same thing with Graviton Flux.
Lycus
Ditto.
falling low. trying to look for something with this barrage here. Montreal starting to push up. There's the graphitic flux and the barrage, trying to find anything. It's huge. Ditto Web finds 2. 1-man advantage for Montreal here. Make it 2 here. Detroit Wolfpack. Only Brown left to try and contest this objective. I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
Nope. Oh.
It's 97%, 98%, 99% for Montreal. Overtime is active. They have a Wrecking Ball and a Lucio going in for the touch here. Lucio able to touch. Quasi gets picked early here. Rush on the objective, trying to make this almost impossible for Detroit to win. But Ball is doing a great job of stalling. Falls early to a rock from the side of Ditto Web. Tempo able to find Adam here. Points are... The members are dwindling for Detroit here. Just a Soldier 76 can't get the touch, and that'll be .1 going to Montreal.
Score 1-0.
As I look at the stats, this is... Let's say it's quite an even matchup.
Yeah, I thought both teams had a pretty good look there. Both sides obviously deciding to angle on the Sigma. I think that the swaps ended up helping both sides a little bit here. I think that early point percentage, as we mentioned, Montreal got a free 20% just for getting that first cap there, and it ended up costing Detroit a little toward the end of that objective. But you got a new point here. I think Farah is actually going to be even more interesting. Detroit angling back towards the double hit scan. I think that could be a little bit costly. This map has a lot of short angles. I think the Reaper can take advantage of. We'll have to see what happens. Saucepan angling under Windmill, trying to find another pick. Early, trying to control. Falls low, gets the Wraith forced. Meanwhile, Brown holding down this angle. Looking for anything.
That falls off the map.
Map. How did that happen? Be interested to see if that was a boop or not, but it looks like he just decided to take the jump off himself. And that's going to be costly. That's your Baptiste down.
And Lycus takes out Flatter.
Yeah, Montreal quick to pounce on the bat being gone. Oh, Lycus finds another boop out of spawn on Adam. That's not what you want to see. Point already won. Detroit swapping over to a Zarya Reaper comp now.
And Quasi jumps off the map.
And Quasi is also off the map. Oh. Man, that was... You know, sometimes when you get booped, like, you hit the edge and, like, you kind of keep going. Like, they don't really get the kill credit for it, but, like, in this case, like, 3 boops already is kind of insane. Zarya trying to find some charge. So, Saucepan trying to angle here. Adam getting pressured out. Zarya is trying to build up some charge here so they can end up winning a fight here, but this Reaper is going uncontested. Bap Lamp forced. Adam trying to take a jump here. Oh, man. Can't challenge a Reaper like that. Saucepan doing God's work on this high ground. Lycus looking for an angle here. They're down their Baptiste again. They could press this advantage. Lycus looking for some poke damage. Brown falling very, very low. Able to live. Oh, no. But Tempo and Saucepan end up walking at their front line. Reaper down, Zarya down. That'll be another fight win for Montreal here. And it's looking pretty good for them. 53%.
Barrage, too.
Barrage and Gravitic Flux coming online here. Meanwhile, the supports for Detroit are very, very close to their first set of ults. So they do have a response if they need to. Gotta be very, very careful here. That Farah is looking probably for another concussion blast. She got away with it once. Can she get it again? Monk Eel coming up on this beat here. It'll be a good response for the Gravitic Flux, and here it is. Oh no, Zarya outside the LOS of the beat. It's catastrophic. Montreal still pressing this advantage, looking for any opening here. Brown ends up getting found out by the Reaper again. Wraith forced onto Quaza. Bubble maybe tries to keep him alive a little bit. Not quite. Saucepan able to pick up another big kill there. 99% is fast approaching for Montreal here. They still have 2 ults online. They're stopping the spawn door. It's not what you want to see for map 1, and that'll be a big map win for Montreal. What a good momentum swap compared to the first round. I have to see if Detroit responds, but so far I'm liking what Montreal's doing.
Play of the game.
That, I would say, was either some sort of mistake from Detroit or recording miscommunications.
Yeah, I think that I think Montreal played that pretty well. I think that some teams are kind of scared to push past that first choke once they get the objective captured on well, but holding that high ground is actually pretty advantageous, and we kind of saw it with Saucepan's positioning. Playing up and aggressive on that Baptiste was causing a lot of problems for the approach of Detroit here. In terms of like comp, they were kind of both trying to play the same thing. I think that Lycus on the Pharah was applying a lot of extra pressure that maybe Detroit couldn't get around. But I mean, now it's Detroit's map pick and their first ban, I believe, and they can go anywhere that they want. So if they don't want to play a control map, if they want to angle something maybe a little bit more hit scan oriented, that is an option for them. We'll have to see what they want to approach.
As we get the map pick slowly coming in. So we might get a swap coming in, maybe?
Taking a look and see if they do any player swaps. I think they gotta announce that after the map. I kind of forget the rules here a little bit, but
Yeah. I'm gonna say probably after the map pick that they're probably to do a player swap. Yeah, so map is picked first, then the player comes in. So, and this player swaps. So, and it looks like we will get a player swap. It will be Brown coming in for invert.
yeah, I think Brown was a yeah, invert is M3 on DPS. It looks like he's actually their highest SR player in terms of overall rank. So I'd be interested to see if adding invert in ends up making a difference. I actually don't know the hero pools of a lot of these newer players as well. I think invert is also a rookie. I apologize if you are not. I just haven't been in the UR bubble for a little bit here. But going forward, invert coming in, I think that, you know, maybe a little bit of a change of approach will help them out. I don't know what Detroit wants to angle map-wise. It'll be interested to see if they try and angle something kind of like sniper oriented, like I kind of mentioned before. That'd be a different approach, but maybe you don't want to do that with DittoWeb having such a strong performance on the Sigma.
Yeah, you maybe want to go more towards like Circuit or maybe even Nubani. Like
I
those
have to
type
wait
of
and
maps.
see. Have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Saucepan's Reaper for a second. Saucepan's Reaper, I would say, it looked pretty devastating to the Detroit team.
It wasn't just devastating, it was the way that Montreal was playing around the Reaper pick. I think that the Reaper pick definitely was very, very advantageous with the way that Montreal was playing around the resources that the Reaper was forcing out. He didn't necessarily need to get the pick all the time, but he was able to find a lot of those opening picks due to the point control and the pressure applied. DittoWeb getting someone low, and then the Reaper jumping in and finishing them off with the shotguns before everything out. It's a classic combo. It doesn't necessarily have to be Reaper Zarya to do that. He's a flanker. He'll find his way. He'll find his way in the back line.
That is always the case with Reaper.
And it looks like we do have a map pick.
It's gonna be King's Row.
Wow, very creative. Just kidding. I love Kings Row. That tells me that Detroit maybe wants to play a little bit more brawl. We'll have to see what they want to ban on this map. I think there's a few options. I actually think this tells me that they maybe don't want to ban Sigma. They might try and play like a hard brawl and just try and push past him. I think there's actually a sneaky amount of high ground control that you can do on hit scan. So maybe if they do, maybe if Montreal still wants to angle the Sigma and still play like a poke comp, it's very, very possible. But in terms of like compositional
Actually, Detroit that gets the
choices
first ban
that these
here,
teams
so
can
let's
make,
see.
be interested to see what Detroit wants to ban. Do you have any predictions? Tank, EPS support?
I'm probably thinking more in line with banning the Reaper.
Yeah, I would almost be inclined to agree. I think that if the Reaper was a big problem, but the thing is I also think that Detroit wants to play the Reaper too. And I know Quaza has a pretty good Reaper in his pool. It could have just been like first map jitters and Saucepan just got the better of him on that one. But we'll see how the series progresses, obviously. If you do want to ban the Reaper, I don't hate it. I think that Detroit banning the Tracer told me that maybe they don't have a Tracer player. So maybe banning the Reaper could end up hurting them. I think it's going to be a tank ban. And I really feel like they might try and ban Sigma on this map. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but I also think that Sigma is kind of playable everywhere outside of like super heavy dive maps like King's Row, or Gibraltar, sorry. So I think that there is a lot of options for Detroit to go here. No, nothing option. And yeah, there it is.
They're banning the Sig.
They're banning the Sigma, and I completely agree with that decision. They keep the door open for all of their tank picks. They take Ditto Wib off of his best character. Let's see if any openings, maybe some cracks in the armor for Montreal here are going to start to form. Do you have any predictions on what tanks are going to be played now that Sigma isn't available?
Ooh. Maybe like a Ramatra.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. I think that Ramatra is probably one of the better brawl characters in the game. I did see one of the teams started on Orisa map 1. Wouldn't be surprised if they want to try and angle that. There's also the sneaky option of playing something like Mauga, maybe even a Reinhardt. It is King's Row, you never know. We'll have to see what Montreal wants to ban in response here. Has to be a DPS or a support.
Yes.
Could target that Reaper on Quaza. Maybe they still want to play it, though. I think it's going to be a support ban.
We have to wait and find out and see. As they are still discussing.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on Montreal's ban. Anyways, what's your prediction on the King's Row game? This map.
I think that Montreal looked really, really strong. I would need to see something like pretty convincing from Detroit here to make to like kind of bring them back into the series. And I do think that banning Sigma is their way back in. They'll have to figure out an answer for it at some point.
An Ana ban. That's gonna be interesting.
Okay. I don't hate it. I think that might it kind of like leaves it kind of like removes the option for like traditional
That leaves
dive.
Mauga wide open, actually.
I think that this just like tells me that it's going to be a hard brawl mirror. Also, Juno being banned, interestingly enough, I think that Montreal did do that. It looks like we have a side swap coming in as well for Montreal here. So they will be attacking first. They want to put the pressure on. I really like that approach here. If you think you have the momentum in the series, I think that attacking first is definitely a way to try and extend that lead.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree on that. Detroit needs a way to break through Montreal's armor. We just need
Here
to
we go.
wait.
We're in.
We just waited to see what picks are going to come in. I'm expecting either Malga or Armacha. Maybe the Orisa too, because they did start off on Orisa.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens here. Montreal obviously attacking first here, so King's Row, very tight angles, like we kind of mentioned before. Lycus, I think we're going to see the Widow peek out of spawn. I would say that's almost like
Armacha on attack.
traditional
As
Robotra
expected.
comp. That's very, very expected here. Softpan hovering the Vendetta. I know the character did get nerfed recently. I still think she's actually pretty strong. We have to see if he wants to keep that or not.
If we do this right, they won't
Meanwhile, Detroit running I want to say that's almost like a poke comp. They're running double hit scan again. We'll have to see if that works out for them. I think that like them lacking the flex DPS is actually going to end up costing them a little bit here. They might not have any easy access to those high grounds. They're just going to try and control space and make Montreal work really, really hard for this open. Montreal running double speed. They want to go fast. They want to put some pressure on them. I actually think it's a pretty good matchup in what Detroit's running, but here we go. Diddle Web trying to walk in this first corner on Statue, trying to find an opening here. The rest of Detroit is angling in the hotel, except for Quaza on this lone angle. Quaza falling a little bit low here, getting shot. It's not really going to force anything open. And Lycus...
Lycus gets Quaza.
Lycus finds Quaza, but
Adam goes down.
it's a
Adam
1-for-1
takes the
trade.
Saucepan, yeah. And Lamatra goes low.
Monkey, a good pick on the tempo. Maybe overextends a little bit there. Diddleweb getting forced, no form, no life. Diddleweb back into the spawn room. And that'll be point number 1 being held by Detroit so far. Lycus on this Widowmaker, still trying to find something. Normally you swap off of it, but maybe he's feeling a little bit confident. Looking for some opening picture. Helios onto the Baptiste. I think that makes more sense here, trying to keep your... and Diddleweb onto the Orisa. So now we have an Orisa mirror. I think Diddleweb's pretty confident in taking this. Both teams poking and trying to find an opening here. Saucepan trying to control this high ground for his team to get him an opening. We'll have to see if they want to sync up this timing correctly. A little bit of a flank here.
Web
being very, very aggressive into the back line of Detroit here. We'll have to see if he costs anything. Lamp is forced. Diddleweb falling dangerously low here. No resources. Lamp is there to save him. Lycus finds an opening pick onto Monkeel. Invert falls. That's 2 picks for Montreal on the openings. Lycus finds a third. And it looks like this will be the opening that Montreal needs to get this first point flipped. Yep, Lycus finds another headshot. Great opening pick from him. And honestly, shout out to the lamp there from Helios at the end to keep Detroit alive. The point not capped yet. Both teams are kind of still poking each other. Montreal trying to get some of this early streets phase pressure. They don't want to be held in that archway. That archway notoriously hard to get past if you're on the attacker side. Meanwhile, Detroit coming back. Monkeel coming up on this BAP. This amplification matrix. Ladder Weevil going in for the Terror Surge, trying to find anything. Lamp is forced and broken. Detroit ends up pushing up here.
Extremely low.
Yeah, well,
5
like
HP.
this 5 HP in a dream. Invert able to pick up Saucepan. That's a good first pick for Detroit
Lamp
here.
is forced and broken.
Lycus, what are you doing there, buddy? Getting forced out by Invert. Invert on this Tracer here. That's three picks this fight for him. Oh! Cameron Smart, a big overhead from Saucepan, though. That's actually a dangerous late pick for Detroit here. They're not going to have their Tracer for the next fight. They're going to have to concede this archway. It could be kind of costly in the long run. Adam coming up on this Kitsune rush. Quaza has the... I don't know, I call it Carpet Bomb. I actually don't know the name of that ultimate. But Montreal has 4. Beat is going to be very, very dangerous for Detroit to deal with. Amplification Matrix and Terra Surge is pretty good. And you can't forget the overhead from Saucepan. But Saucepan falls early to Adam. Quaza commits the Carpet Bomb, makes it picking up Helios. That's 2 down for the side of Montreal. Good retake from Detroit.
What can I say about Quaza? Quaza already just used the ultimate. What was I trying to say? Invert has ultimate.
They're playing up with this early pressure here. Saucepan. Oh, Quaza getting forced out a little bit. There's the Suzu gone, and Adam gets picked. That's a oh, man. It's a shame. Saucepan ended up picking up 2 there, though. Great play from him. Tempo putting pressure onto the back line. Monkey down. 3 down on the side of Montreal here. Tempo looking to live. Flatter Weevil getting poked out. Vendetta trying to get this Orisa here. The late pick. Flatter Weevil able to pick up 1 on his journey out, but Tempo picks him. A little bit of a late kill for Montreal there, and the cart is moving. Quaza onto the Reaper now off of the Sierra.
Sights have been used. They have wall hacks.
Yeah, like as before had a really, really good opening pick here. This is kind of dangerous. I gotta respect this Widowmaker. He is hitting shots. And they do. They kind of zone him out here. The point gets dangerously close. They do have the touch here. Flatter Weevil with the Terra Surge looking for anything in the open. Good beat from Tempo to try and hold this objective.
Ooh,
and here's the
that's
point.
A miss. That is a miss ultimate from Saucepan.
You know, it might have bought them enough time and pressure, though, to get this objective flipped. I'm not going to say it was a bad decision, because they do end up forcing people off of the objective and getting the flip before the fight is even over. And Detroit is really being pressed for their ultimates here. They only have the Pulse Bomb from Invert to try and get a retake. Otherwise, it's pretty even, and Montreal definitely has the space that they need to try and get a deep push here. The high ground is under their control. Quaza tries to TP up and force them off, not quite. Tempo with a good boop. Adam trying to pressure them off the high ground.
Dueling.
Both teams looking for an opening. Invert does have this Pulse Bomb. We'll have to see if he wants to try and rip it on anybody at the moment. Flatter Weevil putting pressure on this Orisa walking up. Pulse Bomb committed, Lamp committed. Invert not able to find anything. Adam, though, able to find an early pick on a Saucepan. Like it's with a good trade, though. That's pretty costly. The Kiriko is down on the side of Detroit. That's a lot of sustain gone. They still have the Baptiste. Flatter Weevil looking to hold this corner aggressively with the shield. Not quite able to. Both teams kind of sizing each other out. Like it's with another good opening pick on the Quaza. Flatter Weevil looking for an opening. Saucepan in the back line, trying to find anything else. Adam falls at the late lamp from Monkey. It's a little bit unfortunate, but they do end up trading out Saucepan. Invert looking for something on the cart here, not quite. Lycus has this high ground under control. Both teams kind of sizing each other up. Montreal has both support ults here if they want to play aggressive.
Meanwhile, I think that's yeah, that is Detroit having only 1.
It doesn't matter. Adam's able to find Lycus. Flatter Wheel finds Tempo. Helios able to find a quick pick on the Invert, but then Quaza goes out, trades Ditto Web, and it looks like Detroit is going to be able to hold this. In Detroit, I think they're pretty happy with that fight. Both teams didn't really commit any ultimates. Lycus onto the Tracer now off of the Widowmaker. Both teams coming up on 4 ults. Both Tracers missing their Pulse Bomb. Be interested to see how these teams kind of approach it. And Helios with an early early window, trying to force out this.
Oh boy, that is
Orisa. Beat committed from Tempo to save Helios. That's a pretty good beat, all things considered. Window is down on the side of Detroit. Flatter Weevil looking for anything with this Terra Surge, and he's able to find Saucepan, who loses his ult in the process. 4 ults committed from Montreal here, and Detroit does look like they're going to hold. But as I say that, Lycus able to pick up a big pick on the Invert. Adam with the Kitsune rush onto the cart, trying to do anything they can to hold this objective. Lycus in the backline, looking for anything that can help his team get through the final rush here. OT active for Montreal here. It's a do or die. No ults are active. Lycus 85% of this Pulse Bomb. We'll have to see if he can build it up in time to try and find a pick here. Both Orisas trying to hold this cart as aggressively as possible. Saucepan back on the on-run, looking for anything, and Quaza is able to pick up Helios. That's a costly pick on the side of Montreal. That's a majority of their healing down. Saucepan able to pick up a kill on the Invert, but Quaza trades out Tempo. This Onron trying to find anything, but Adam able to win the 1v1 on the Kiriko. Flatter Weevil able to find a pick, and Detroit looks like they're going to get the hold.
Score
I like the adjustments. I think that Detroit did a pretty good job there with their swaps.
Yep. I believe their Orisa is just what's causing the problem right now, honestly. Same thing with their backline, honestly. Backline is just keeping their whole team alive.
I think it might be. I think that Montreal might need to play a little bit quicker. If you're playing Lucio Baptiste, you kind of have to play for the rotates more than Detroit does. Detroit is playing Baptiste Kiriko. So they're playing with a lot of sustain. You have to try and take advantage of it. And I say that Montreal angling over to the Alari. I don't hate it. I think Alari is actually like one of the highest win rate characters in the game right now, and this gives you a lot of healing and pressure.
And the May from Saucepan too. May Saucepan. What a world. Yeah. Walls could be really interesting. Like they can block off the archway. I've seen some high ranked teams do that.
Oh, invert. Maybe not charged enough. Like is able to live that headshot there. Saucepan on the May is actually pretty interesting. If they don't have speed, I think it's actually a little bit hard to capitalize off these walls. We'll have to see if Montreal has a plan for that. Both teams kind of angling here. And Lycus able to find an early pick on the invert. That's going to... And Lycus gets two. Man, this Widowmaker is putting up a performance this map. And that'll be an early fight win for Montreal here. Do they know that Adam's in the back line? Do they know that he's back here? This could be very, very costly for Montreal if they don't clear this. Adam could just sneak up and kill this Widowmaker if she's not careful.
Oh, they know. They know. 100% know.
Oh, they know now. Saucepan is trying to clear out this Kiriko. Forces the TP early. Both teams kind of angling here. Invert onto the Pharah now. That's a big wall from Saucepan. Orisa getting forced. It doesn't matter. Invert able to pick up Saucepan. The lamp is forced. That's costly on the side of Montreal. Both teams kind of looking for any sort of opening here, but Quaza is in the back line. He's got two, and that'll be Detroit winning the first point, probably. Oh, but Lycus, maybe if Lycus got something to say about it. These guys been hitting headshots all series. Nah.
Never mind, nope.
You never know with the Widowmaker. Yeah, Detroit just trying to control this space at the moment. Quaza's in there pretty deep.
Objective lost.
Oh, he's getting forced. That Wraith form is going to get him out of there. So yeah, we have Lycus on the Cassidy now. Off of the Widowmaker. I don't hate it. I think that controlling the Reaper is going to be pretty important now that Streets phase is active. And this Reaper is just trying to play around these buildings, be as much of a rat as possible. Montreal looking to hold Bookstore. Looking for any sort of foothold that they can get here, but this Reaper in the bar is just being such a nuisance for this Orisa. I gotta try and clear him out somehow. Heart is moving. Terra Surge committed by Detroit here, looking for any sort of opening. That'll force the lamp from Helios. Orisa falling really, really low here. Terra Surge is trying to keep herself alive, and it looks like it will. Blizzard from Saucepan to try and get some space.
Nothing.
Orisa is cut off, but as I say that, ID Quaza, he just finds Lycus anyways. The DPS from the side of Detroit here do not want to lose this fight, and they find all five in the middle of the chaos. And a costly fight for Montreal here, who had swap over to the Juno in response.
They want to go double speed. Well, not really double speed. If you have the rush, and then it's going to be double speed, but I'll go 1.5 speed.
Yeah, I like this a lot more now. I think that Montreal having access to the speed to try and capitalize off of these May walls from Saucepan could actually be pretty advantageous.
Reaper might be trying to figure out where to go in ult nets.
That being said, 3 ults online from Detroit. There's a Blossom. It gets speared, but it doesn't really matter. He ends up finding the value that he needs. That combined with the Orbital Ray from Montreal. Point number 2 captured. 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock to try and get this third and final objective. Seal up the map for Detroit. Invert trying to control this high ground. Saucepan on the Reaper now, off of the May. This is kind of a lot of what we saw from Montreal on their attack here. They're trying to control this first high ground box here. Adam with the Kitsune rush may try to commit this here. You're kind of in one fight territory now. The card is in a dangerous spot, and Flattery will find a good opening pick onto Lycus. As I say that though, Ditto Web, really, really good spear on Adam. Ends up finding 2. Invert hits Helios. Looking for any sort of open here. This Pharah is in your backline. Doesn't look like it's going to matter though. Saucepan finds Monkeel and Ditto Web finds ID Quaza. So that'll be one fight win for Montreal that they definitely need to try and get a foothold.
As I say, Lycus still has his Cassidy ult. He still has Noon.
Yeah, he has to be really, really careful here. Trying to work around the spear from Flatter Weevil. Orisa Spear is definitely very, very good at canceling High Noon. As I say that, ID Quaza TP's out of Saucepan, is able to find one. This guy has been having a really, really good map here. As I say that, Flatter Weevil walks in, pops a Terra Surge, Lycus falls, still has that High Noon, not able to use it. Ditto Web trades onto Invert. This fight definitely still winnable for both teams. Monkeel able to pick up tempo. That's a big late pick for Detroit here. But this Reaper from Saucepan, it's back. It's dangerous. Shotguns are blowing up this Orisa.
Adam falls off the map.
Adam off the map here. Invert able to pick up a late pick on the Saucepan. I don't know if they can push this though without their Orisa. They might have to just stall out a little bit.
Get the payload moving. A dark step.
Orbital Ray online for Detroit for next fight. Montreal has High Noon, Blossom, and Ray, and a Ray of their own. So we'll have to see if anything can happen here. I think that whatever team ends up getting the better Ray is going to end up winning. Have to see if any of the DPS here can make a miracle play like they have been all series.
I'm expecting a Ray Blossom here.
Yep, both teams looking for an
That's
opening.
the inkling I have, a Ray Blossom.
No one ulting it, and there's the Ray from Montreal. Or there's, this is a great move from Detroit. Disengage, wait your turn, then you can go back in with your own Ray, and it'll be very, very advantageous for you. You end up buying some space here. Invert trying to force out Saucepan, gets the Wraith Force. Saucepan all the way in the back. Oh no, he gets picked. That's the Blossom offline for the side of Montreal, and that's going to be catastrophic. Here comes the Ray. Detroit looking for an opening. The Ray is online, pushing down the cart. ID Quaza with a big Blossom. That kind of barrage.
And there's Detroit winning it.
I thought that was a pretty good look for Detroit. I think that last fight, it comes down to a little bit of like a positioning mistake. Saucepan gets forced out early and picked by Invert. Maybe no fault of his own. Invert was having a great map on this Pharah. So going forward, I actually think this is looking pretty close.
Yes, we could have a map 5 here. Not saying it's a maybe. It is kind of possible. I'm not guaranteeing it though.
We'll have to see.
Yeah,
So now Hybrid is out of the map pool, as well as Control. So they have the option between Push, Escort, and Flashpoint. Out of those three, which do you think Montreal is going to pick?
I'm expecting either a flashpoint or an escort.
Flashpoint or an Escort. Do you think they're going to go any map in particular?
A flashpoint, I'm expecting at least a Cervasa. I mean, either Cervasa. Yeah, it has to be Cervasa. It's a well-known map. But for escort, there's a lot you can choose. Like Midtown. Well, Midtown's not really a good map, but in escort you can go with there's a lot to choose.
Well, for Escort, your options are Dorado, Rialto, and Route 66.
Probably Route.
And to me, it feels like they're going to pick Rialto. I feel like Rialto is out of all of the maps remaining, the strongest Sigma option. And I think that they want to keep Ditto Web on what he's comfortable on. Now that Sigma's back available, I think that them being able to pick that map will be highly advantageous to them.
Absolutely. But then again, he was really comfortable in the Orisa.
That is true. We'll just have to wait and see what they want to do. I was also pretty impressed with Quasar on the Reaper that last map. He found a lot of opening picks when, you know, the previous map, it felt like they were almost a little bit flustered and they were off to a rough start. Do you think that that's going to be important going forward now that Quasar's kind of coming online on that Reaper pick?
I would say yes, but don't get me started on Lycus with the Widow.
Oh yeah, and there's the Rialto pick. Yep. And this totally to me screams that Montreal wants to be playing like a Widow and a Sigma. I think that just seems the most obvious. It seems like that's what they're strongest on. That's what they want to be playing. In Detroit was definitely struggling to try and get through these angles when Lycus was holding them.
Yeah.
In terms of bans, Montreal does have first ban, so what do you think that they're going to try and remove here on the side of Detroit?
Ooh, I would say, on the side of Detroit, okay. I would say now is probably a good time to really think on what they're gonna possibly use. I mean, the Reaper is an okay ban because it targets Quasar. But you have to think about what else is there. Farah. Really much of high space here.
I don't hate it. I thought that Invert was doing great on the Farah last map. I think that Rialto is actually a little bit more open as well, so this could enable the Farah a little bit more. I think this is a great target ban. It removes that option for Detroit. And now Detroit has their option of ban as well. They can't ban Sigma because they've already done it previously.
Yeah, it's going to be a Farah ban.
So we'll have to see what Detroit wants to go with. And it looks like they're going to be banning Kiriko.
Interesting.
Do you think that suggests that they want to angle anything in specific?
Probably going either the Rissa pick, maybe going with Lucio, or keeping with the Juno, maybe.
You know, I almost think this suggests to me that they almost want to be playing Lucio Baptiste. But like last map, both teams obviously were angling Juno Kiriko. And
now the Kiriko banned, you would have one option, Baptiste.
Yep, I still think it's possible to play a Juno comp if they want to. But we'll have to see what these teams want to approach. Now that Kiriko is out of the pool, and Kiriko obviously very, very strong support, cleanse, Kitsune rush, takes very, very aggressive angles. Adam last map I think was doing excellent on the Kiriko, but maybe they feel like banning it is going to give them more of an opening, more access to the backline. To me, this feels like both teams, like Montreal is definitely going to be trying to play their poke here. So if Detroit can find an answer to it, this could be a really, really good map to win going into the rest of the series.
Honestly, we could see anything happen here.
Yup. And it looks like we're going to be going in very shortly.
Ooh, Flatter Weevil on the Winston.
Andrew, I can't see the stream.
Yeah.
There's Prod. There he is. Hey, both teams looking for their opening. So we have
Sapphire was gonna be on the Winston. That's gonna be a little shocking to me. And Invert on the Emre.
Sigma. The team running Ana Brig is not playing Winston. It's the Sigma team. Meanwhile, Detroit playing Ana and
Stop the payload.
Saucepan on Freya too.
Juno. Invert on this Emery. I think that Emery is actually a very, very strong character right now. He tried it a little bit on the last map, but Lycus on this Widowmaker was causing a lot of problems. And there it is, Ladder Weevil forcing the high ground, trying to keep this Widow under control.
And he walks away.
Ana playing very safely in the backline, and Ditto Web trying to hold the cart and make sure that it doesn't move too far so they can keep this area control here. Quaza in the backline looking for something to do, but Lycus has this angle under control. Both supports are kind of keeping Quaza in check right now, so this Winston's trying to find an opening. But Lycus is hitting his shots. Quaza trying to force out this backline here. There's a little bit of pressure, and Invert finds the pick on tempo. That's a good opening pick for the side of Detroit. This Emery is starting to get work done. Quaza able to pick up Lycus. It's kind of falling apart now for Montreal. 2 picks down. And the cart is moving. Here comes a challenging part of the map here. This bridge is notoriously hard to break here, but the DPS and Winston are in the right spot to try and do it. They're trying to hold off this high ground, make sure that no one can contest when they're not allowed to. Flatter Weevil on the point here, trying to prevent the point from being captured. Helios, a good pick on the Quaza. That'll hopefully slow down the card a little bit here. Saucepan onto the Freya. Trying to force out this Emery a little bit here, struggling to do so. Flatter Weevil gets hit with a rock. Not what you want to see. Oh, Lycus comes online, able to pick up 2. Be a good hold for the side of Montreal.
The data pool increases.
It looks like Detroit has. I'm looking at the wrong team. Montreal has 3 ultimates coming online, while Detroit doesn't have a single one. Well, take that back. Montreal has 1 coming online.
Yeah, this orbital raise here is going to have to be a big pick, but as I say that, Quaza falls. Oh no, the walls from Lycus able to find Quaza. Not what you want to see here. Ditto Web, but using the flux here, ends up finding 2. Able to pick up Invert. Adam trades tempo, looking for anything else extra, but it's not going to happen. Winston gets rocked out of his jump. Not what you want to see here. Ditto Web trying to chase these picks here, trying to see if they can pick up this Winston, but there's a big pummel. Trying to see here if any value can be generated. Monkey able to use their Pulsar torpedoes to try and chase down Saucepan, and he's able to. Nano committed onto Ditto Web to try and keep him alive, but I don't know if he was in danger in the first place here. That might be a costly mistake. Ditto Web able to stay alive and hold the point though. Flatter Weevil trying to force out this high ground in any way that he can. Able to get out on 1 HP. Oh man, it's how does he live that? Nano onto the Juno. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but we'll have to see what happens. This override protocol from Invert trying to find anything, and he does. Able to pick up Helios. Big heal onto Invert here when he drops, fighting this Reaper onto the cart, and he's able to pick him up. Good shots from Invert. Orbital Ray committed from the side of Montreal. Or, sorry, from the side of Detroit here, and they're able to kind of force this point back a little bit and get this first flip.
Quaza on Sombra, as I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I must have missed that when it happened. He's 53% to EMP here. I don't know if I agree with this 100% here. Sombra is a character that's kind of been struggling as of recent, but I think that the Sombra does actually offer a lot of like annoying pressure. You know, the hacks can definitely shut down a lot of big value ultimates. Lycus has this infra site here, trying to find an opening, but Saucepan able to pick up Flatter Weevil before the fight even begins. That's a dangerous pick for Montreal here. I think they're going to have to back up.
Saucepan sits on the ground.
Yeah, but Quaza able to pick up Lycus. That's a really good pick here. The Winston is back, so now they do have numbers advantage. Trying to force out Saucepan, 91% to this.
Quaza gets Lycus. That is going to be a big
awesome,
pick.
but Quaza picks up Lycus again. Saucepan? Oh man, that Blossom goes a little bit wide here. Able to pick up Invert, but he ends up trading his life in the process. Flatter Weevil able to force out this Sigma a little bit here, and it looks like 4 members of Detroit are still alive pushing this payload. 2 ultimates online, one of them being EMP. That'll be a dangerous recontest if they want to try and have it. Lycus looking for an opening here. Quasar in the back line trying to force out this Widow, and he gets him in the middle of the infra site. That's a huge pick from Quasar. This Sombra is causing a lot of problems for this Widowmaker. I want to see if they have any answers. Big juggle from Flatter Weevil. Great job pushing out the Zana to get it. No, it's good kills. He can. Detroit Wolfpack is not giving Montreal an inch here. Lycus onto the Emery. As you mentioned, I think that's definitely a response to what Quasar was doing to him on Widowmaker. He was like 3 or 4 fights in a row where Quasar went invis and ran at the Widow and was able to find a good opening pick here. And Lycus, he's a good player, but when you can't put the pressure on because you're...
EMP gets all 5.
Forced out huge EMP from Quasar. That's 3 dead for the side of Montreal here. Brig dies before she can rally. Ditto Web tries to pick up anyone with that flux, but it's not going to happen. And that's a huge, huge round from Detroit here. 2 minutes and 5 seconds in the time bank. It felt dominant.
That EMP was disgusting. Holy.
Yeah, I listen. I kind of doubted the Somber pick a little bit from Quasar, but he's making it work. He's doing excellent job putting pressure onto Lycus and the rest of the backline. And then the EMP comes in and it hits 4 or 5 members able to pick up the. Yeah, we'll have to see if Montreal has some sort of response to this, but it really feels like Detroit is finally waking up after that last map. And just running away with the pressure of it, and Montreal needs to be able to dig themselves out of this hole here.
Lycus going Echo.
I don't hate it. I think Echo's actually pretty strong at the moment.
With the Sombra, though?
I think Sombra is a character that's a lot stronger on attack than defense. I think that you can still set up the same way, but it's a lot harder to kind of regularly put pressure on the backline unless the fight is currently happening. But Detroit keeping the exact same comp they just ran. I wouldn't blame them. It looked like it was working great here. Saucepan hovering the on-run. I don't hate it because Kiriko is banned.
5, 4, 3,
Maybe that burn value will be extra strong. Also playing close.
stop the payload.
Maybe they'll be able to find something. Otherwise, Montreal looking for some sort of opening here on the Sigma. Both teams just kind of poking, trying to find something. Quasar falls really, really low, gets forced out, and he's off the map. Oh no, maybe that translocator didn't go where he wanted it to. It's a good opening pick for Montreal here. That Sombra is not going to be in your backline now.
Immediately goes Reaper.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I think that
Nope.
this is definitely a Reaper angle. No, on a Cassidy instead. Flatter Weevil falling low here. This Echo does have beam. You gotta be really, really careful of that.
Feeling warm yet?
Invert gets naded. Trying to still find an opening here. The Sigma is slowly trying to push the card up to this corner to take advantage of the bridge angle, but Flatter Weevil is doing a great job forcing him out. Invert able to find a good opening pick onto Lycus. Saucepan able to find Quasar, but he gets traded in the process. That's two down on the side of Montreal. No DPS. I have to imagine they're gonna have to back up. Flatter finds Helios. It's a good fight win for Detroit there. Really, really good. I think that we don't really talk about him because he doesn't show up in the kill feed, but Flatter Weevil is doing an excellent job of isolating the high-value targets so that way they can't help Ditto Web, they can't help Lycus. Putting pressure on the Ana and the Juno is causing a lot of problems for Montreal. And I think he's kind of gone unchecked. I think that's why you kind of see a lot of the struggles happening from Montreal. There it is, playing around the Winston bubble, able to put a lot of pressure on the Ditto Web, no healing available, Invert able to pick him off. Flatter Weevil again finds tempo. This Winston is causing a lot of problems.
Hey, you got slapped.
Invert able to get some straggle kills here, but only two members alive on the side of Montreal. Detroit looking for a strong hold here. They still have the Nano. Nano Winston, obviously, I think is a pretty strong combo here if they want to try and angle that. They could also look for a Nano Emre ult if Invert builds it up fast enough.
Which he has.
Adam looking for some sort of opening. Looking for a nade here. Able to find 2. No follow-up available.
Duplicating Emran.
Good poke. Saucepan looking to angle this backline here, but Winston is in. Ditto Web looking for an opening here. Big flux onto the Winston. Falls down to half HP, but I don't know if it's going to matter. There's the Primal. Big Primal from Flatter Weevil. Able to find some opening here, but Invert is killing everybody in the process. He's able to pick up one on his way out. Flatter Weevil finishes him off with the Primal. Just Ditto Web live. 1 minute left on the clock for Montreal here, and so far their attack is yet to bear fruit. This hold here is looking really, really strong from Detroit.
And they're gonna go Winston. And so is Lycus gonna go to the Symmetra.
To the Symmetra? We'll have to see here if they're trying to plan something sneaky. Normally whenever you go Sim, you're trying to look for
some Wu Yang.
Well, you want to try something new, I think. Whole team is trying to angle this bottom here. They're maybe looking for a TP play. Not gonna happen. Flatter Weevil able to pick up Lycus immediately. ID Quaza picked by Tempo. Saucepan able to find something, but this Winston from Flatter Weevil able to pick up 2 again. Saucepan reses himself to try and find an opening here. Ditto Web in the backline trying to brawl this Winston, but unfortunately Flatter Weevil has an Ana, so the damage is not there. Saucepan, last man alive on the cart. Few seconds remaining. Monkey Eel popping the orbital ray to try and close this map out. Saucepan ends up getting picked here. Get the Dancing Blaze committed, and that will be a full hold for Detroit. 2-1 in the series.
Honestly, Flatter Weevil that was an underrated Winston play right there.
I think that's the thing with tank players, is that they normally don't catch a lot of the praise because they're not showing up in the kill feed, you know, but they're causing a lot of problems. In the case of Flatter Weevil here, on that second round, he was finding those opening picks. And enough cannot be said about what Quaza was doing on that Sombra on the attack round. It completely flipped the momentum of that map in their favor. Still looking for any sort of opening though, and I think that Detroit has all the momentum now. That was kind of your sniper map gone, and you'd think that Montreal would be able to get a good hold there with their Sigma comp, but I think that Detroit approached that pretty smart. That was a good game plan from them, and it paid off. So you know, you have push and flashpoint left. Montreal gets map pick. We'll have to see what they want to do.
I'm expecting a flashpoint. That I'm just either a flashpoint, Cervasa, or a push New Queen Street. That's just my guess.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad prediction at all. I think that looking for any sort of maybe if they want to take the brawl, it felt like they were doing fine on King's Row as well. Maybe letting Invert get a little bit of value on that, a little bit more value on that Pharah than they originally wanted. So if they did want to play a brawl here, I don't think that it's out of the question that they could. I don't know what ban options they want to leave available. Maybe they want to ban the Winston, because the Winston was a huge problem on that map. Flatter Weevil looked excellent on the character, and I think that that's definitely something that Detroit could lean on going forward in the series if it goes unchecked. I think the Kiriko being available could also cause a lot of problems. Because she was banned that map.
Yeah, maybe you should protect the Kiriko.
Detroit used the ban, so I don't think that Montreal would want to ban Kiri. But we'll have to see what happens going forward. I do think that both of these teams look like they want to play Juno over Lucio. So there could be an angle where you pick a brawl map and then you. I think already. So I don't know if that's on the table for them as well. So it's definitely interesting to see what both of these teams are going to want to do on the push and flashpoint, which are generally pretty fast modes.
Durvasa.
Yep, and Suravasa gets picked. I don't hate that. I think that Suravasa is probably the best designed flashpoint in the game. I think it gives you the most comp variability. I think that the other two are like pretty hard brawl maps with a lot of short corners.
What's those different ways you can attack? You can attack the right area to go down the right stairs, the middle, which takes you down.
Yep.
And you go take the left area, which goes the corridor straight up and take a left. Okay. There's multiple ways you can attack. Ooh, it looks like Montreal will go with an Orisa ban.
Gonna ban Orisa? I don't hate that, but I also feel like they wanted to angle that as well. If you're Detroit here, what are you gonna ban then? Because I feel like
I think I kind of disagree with the Orisa ban.
I don't hate it. It does seem that whenever Detroit does want to play these brawl comps, they do end up defaulting to the Orisa. But this could force Detroit to kind of second guess themselves. Maybe play a dive comp. As we mentioned, I think that Winston is definitely on the table for this map. There's a lot of
I was thinking like
points.
This is the map for Zarya Reaper, by the way.
I think that a lot of flashpoints are good for Zarya Reaper. This one in particular is pretty good. I don't know what Ditto Whip's hero pool is outside of Sigma. And he was obviously angling Orisa on King's Row as well, so we'll have to see if Ditto Web wants to try and play anything else as the series kind of progresses here. Detroit still has a ban option. Montreal banned Tank, so
probably to protect the Reaper.
They don't need to protect the Reaper. Since Montreal already banned, I think that there's a ton of options that you could do on the DPS role, maybe if you don't want to play into something in specific from Montreal here, but I think Detroit has to definitely, if they choose this ban correctly, I think that they could close out the series here.
Let's see, who are they going to ban? Let's wait and find that out.
Just gonna wait, and there's the ban. They're gonna ban
it's
Lucio.
That I believe is a good ban.
I don't hate it from Detroit. I think that you're confident in taking the Juno Mirror at this point. So if you want to force the Juno Mirror on the Flashpoint map, I think that you can absolutely go for it.
Yes. Juno is honestly pretty good on this map too, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I think that one aspect of this that we haven't really talked about yet is Invert coming in after map 1. I don't know if he was either late or they just wanted to try and cycle in some different people, but Invert is definitely making a huge difference when he's in the map. His Emery last map was definitely finding a lot of opening picks alongside Quaza, who's putting a lot of pressure onto the backline, making people turn around, making people, constantly scared there's going to be a Reaper around the corner. Maybe where he shouldn't be. So I think that like those two working together here is actually a really, really good look for Detroit.
Yes, yeah. Honestly, Quaza and Invert is probably the next duo of Detroit here.
Yeah.
For the season.
Well, both teams are gearing up here. Do you think anyone's going to do anything silly? Do you think Montreal might try and do something completely different that we haven't seen yet? I don't know what the rest of the hero pools is for all the players on that team.
Maybe like a brig. I don't know if a brig would even work on this map.
See, I'm over here looking at your profile picture, and I'm thinking it would be really cool to see a Mauga, but I don't think a lot of people share that opinion with me. I think that Mauga on Flashpoint is a disgusting character, and if they do play it correctly, I think that it could be the perfect answer to whatever Winston comp Detroit is going to throw at them.
Honestly, that is a great take because all you need to do is just press both mouse buttons. That's all you do. Press mouse. Well, it's not really that simple because you have to manage your cooldowns effectively, your resources effectively. If you get low on health, you just press E. Use both triggers.
Yep.
Slam out. Also, the JQ matchup. It just depends on how you manage that, as well as the Ana matchup. You just shred through Ana. If you get CC'd, you have to go back out and fight from a distance, etc., etc.
All right. Yeah, I think Junker Queen. You did mention Junker Queen. I think the Junker Queen is actually pretty good on the side of Flashpoint as well. There's a lot of short corners here. I do think that if they were going to try and angle the Junker Queen, they might not have picked Saravasa. I think that New Junk City and Atlas are better for that character. But if you wanted to play it here, you absolutely could.
Initiating match.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be right with that prediction. I wouldn't hate to see Junker Queen nowadays. I think Junker Queen's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Junker Queen, I believe, is kind of underrated.
She deals a lot of damage. I do think that she was definitely on the short end of the stick when they added in the new tank passives.
Ready for battle.
Yeah.
Oh man, it looks like you might be right. It looks like you might be right. They are hovering the Junker Queen right now, and I really
And
do.
Zarya
like
Reaper. And the Zarya Reaper. Oh, they're going Mauga too.
Oh my god, we might both be right. maybe not the way we thought, but those are two very different looks for this.
And
But this
Saucepan going Venture. This is gonna be and the Rock Launcher? Really?
Yup, I hate it. Both teams looking good. Very, very different looks here. Quasar on the Sierra, Invert on the Onron, Flatter Weevil hovering this Mauga, running it down.
And Tempo on the Brig. I literally said a Brig earlier.
Yeah, I actually really like Montreal's comp into what Detroit is playing here. They do have to be a little bit careful of the on-run burn, but I think that in general, this will come down to whether Flatter Weevil can hit his stomps or not. I think the Mauga stomp is the big cooldown that you have to try and track here.
He can effectively use his E effectively. And
Both teams looking for an opening here. Adam able to find a good opening pick onto Lycus. Invert finds Saucepan, and that will be two early picks for the side of Detroit here. I don't think that there's going to be enough damage to kill this Mauga. Nope. And Diddle Web falls to a tracker dart from Quaza, and that'll be an early fight win for Detroit. First flip goes to them. Saucepan off to the Reaper immediately. I don't hate it into the Mauga. I think that's a pretty good response. And Ditto Web onto the Sigma. Again, I feel like this is good into the Mauga. You want to try and shut down his damage as much as possible.
I believe the Sigma Mauga matchup actually could be 50-50. My personal take is if you slam him while using his.
They're looking for it. Big rock onto Flatter Weevil, and he's holding Eat in his face. Mauga can't heal when he can't deal damage. He's backing up onto the pack there. Oh no, he ends up getting it. That's going to be costly. Invert able to pick up the backline in the chaos of it all. Adam able to pick up one, and that'll be another early fight win for the side of Detroit here. And I think that's going to be the point as well. Early flip goes their way. A lot of percentage.
To get into the fight off, you have to get at least like 85 to 80% at least.
Secure.
Point caps very, very fast on Flashpoint. Both teams kind of rotating to the new objective at the fountain. Quaza on the solo angle here, being a little bit of a nuisance. If he hit the tracker dart, this could cause a lot of problems. Ends up conceding the space to the Tracer, though. Who ends up going back to their team. Detroit Wolfpack end up taking the high ground early here. I think that that's a little bit of a costly mistake from the side of Montreal. I think that Sigma would be really wanting to get a big stomp onto Lycus, followed up by Invert. Not what you want to see if you're a Tracer player. Ladder Weevil running past, trying to force out the Sigma here. Big rock from Ditto but it's not gonna matter. Quaza able to finish off Ditto here. Detroit is looking strong on this Mauga comp. 5 ults online for the side of Detroit here. Montreal's gonna have 4. Be interested to see how Invert wants to use this Onron ult. I think that Onron generally wants to use it for the dive bomb instead of rezzing herself, but rezzing herself is also an option. Reaper gets forced out early. Invert with a good opening pick on a saucepan. Maybe no help there. Ditto Web getting blown up or his team here, but Tempo ends up finding 2. Oh man, the Tracer end up backcapping while in the chaos. I don't know if it's gonna matter though. This Mauga is at full HP and he's going to the point. They're looking for some sort of opening here. Big play from Tempo. What a brig play. You never really see those.
Oh, he does get the Mauga.
This brig just did God's work and tried to open up this point here. Rally committed, but who cares? He ended up winning the point.
That's what my Mauga looks
convincingly.
like.
Cost you 2 ults to get in there. Detroit still has 4 online. We'll have to see if they want to mirror the orbital raise. Cage committed from Flatter Weevil, but he's falling dangerously low. Suzu in to try and save him, but Saucepan finds a big 3-man Blossom. Make it 4. Lycus gets the cleanup on the Adam. Huge fight win from Montreal.
One more fight. One more. If they can get there in time.
It looks like they will be. They are kind of approaching 90% on the timer for Montreal here. There's the do or die from Detroit. They still have 2 ultimates. They could commit this. Invert in the objective. Rising himself to try and find an opening. Bodies are even again for the side of Detroit here. Quaza able to pick up Tempo, but Lycus able to pick up Adam. That's 1 support down for each side. And did they trade both supports? All supports are down in the lobby. Ditto Web 99 to this Flux, trying to find anything, but no, the Mauga able to burn him before he can use it. Lycus Pulse Bomb on the point, trying to find any sort of opening, but 3 members are alive from Detroit. No one alive from Montreal. 70% on the clock. Ditto Web has this Flux for the recontest. They are at 80% here, but they gotta hurry. The Sigma doesn't have any movement abilities. Looks like Lycus is in position to touch. Saucepan walks in, gets picked early. That's a dangerous situation for the side of Montreal. Ditto Web still has this Flux if he wants to try and commit it to win the point. Yes, he does. Hits the Mauga. Mauga falling dangerously low. Able to get out with a run. Onron, big dodge on the rock by Invert. That's a pretty big dodge there. Mauga trying to get any sort of help that he can, but there's some 5 members from Detroit on the objective. Quaza comes up on the Blossom, rips the Blossom. No, he gets rocked.
It's stunned.
Gets stunned. Still brawling. Kiri Rush committed for the side of Adam. They're still trying to look for this point. Tempo is holding on for the side of Montreal here. Brawling, looking for any opening, and they can get it. Montreal with a hard fought objective number 2, and they'll move to objective number 3. I believe this is
Montreal still has 1 ult and
Garden.
And we're on to
Yeah.
Garden.
I believe this is Garden. Flatter Weevil getting poked out early here. He's gotta be really careful of these Sigma rocks. Ditto Web is trying to control Flatter Weevil in any way that he can. Saucepan taking a 1v1 against Quads in the backline. Look for anything, gets forced out. Quads is still on this flank here, trying to put pressure on anyone that he can. A little bit dangerous. And the pressure is split from Detroit at the moment. Both teams trying to find an opening here. Another Flux from Ditto Web, looking for anything that he can. Juno grab, but no joy. Big Blossom from Saucepan again, able to get the 2. It was a huge Sigma eat. Invert, the only person left alive. Everyone's burning, but it doesn't matter. First
Like
point
that.
flip goes to Montreal. That was a huge play from Montreal there. Saucepan goes for the Blossom inside of the Malga cage, which normally ends up getting you burnt, but it actually ends up working because Ditoweb holds Eat on him during the casting of the ult. It ends up winning them the objective. Really good teamwork on the side of Montreal. Flighter Weevil swapping to Ramatra, I think that's a really good swap. I think that if any character in the game is going to end up putting Sigma in his place, it's going to be Ramatra. Being able to ignore the Eat, ignore a lot of that shield that Sigma does, that's Ramatra's specialty here. Trying to find any sort of opening. Another big rock onto the tank of Detroit. He falls dangerously. And Pulse Bomb from Lycus able to pick up the tank here. That's a dangerous situation for Detroit. No tank for a retake. Invert able to pick up tempo though. Trying to find any sort of opening. Lycus in the backline trying to force out this Juno. She's playing around the packs really good. And Monkeel ends up getting the kill. Saucepan, though, on the point, ends up getting 2. Quaza committing this Blossom, trying to find anything that he can, and he can find Ditto Web. That's a huge pick. Pick late here. Flighter Weevil on the objective. There's a Ramatra on the objective. You got to be really careful about that. No tank on the side of Montreal here. They're trying to just stall out this point as long as they can before they get it. And there's the Juno Ray committed by the side of Montreal. Trying to close out this objective, but it's not gonna matter. Detroit still has bodies on the point. Tempo's the last person alive, and it does not look like that Ray is gonna get what he wanted.
Yep, that is unfortunate.
The barrier appears.
Never switched to Tracer here.
I think that maybe marking Lycus is gonna pay off in the long run. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Big rock from Ditto Web, not able to find the confirm. They still have this flux here. They're looking for any sort of opening that they can get. Ramatra has Annihilation. It'll make pushing on at this point a struggle for the side of Montreal, who also has this ult from Saucepan. And Saucepan has been finding big value with his ult, but maybe he won't even need it. Lycus finds Adam, and Saucepan ends up winning the 1v1 against Quaza in the corner. Lycus able to pick up Ladder Weevil. Saucepan, and it's all good. It's all Montreal. It's all Montreal. It's done before it even started. One rally committed from tempo, and it's not even gonna cost them any more than that. That'll be map point for Montreal.
Honestly, I believe the break pick is what's really helping out here.
I think you kind of have to be careful of playing Brig into Ramatra, but it's been working really well so far for the side of Montreal here. I think the tempo on the Brig has been looking excellent. Quaza off to the Sombra though. We kind of saw how this worked on the last map. We'll have to see if it works again.
You're mine now.
I think that they have 1 goal and 1 goal only, and it's just a mess with the Brig.
Yep, but tempo able to pick up another. Able to mark the Sombra successfully, and Lycus is able to pick up an early kill on the Invert. Saucepan pops his Blossom, doesn't really find anything. Juno Ray committed from the side of Detroit here to try and clear out this objective, as well as the Kitsune Rush and the Ramatra ult, and they're still not finding any kills. This is a huge fight win from the side of Montreal, who also had to commit their ults, but it's well worth it if you win that objective. Nothing else on the side of Detroit here, and the time is ticking up for Montreal.
Gotta go. Cheers, Squire. It's time to save the realm.
Detroit swapping their comp to try and find something as an option. The Flighter Weevil onto the Junker Queen. Kind of mentioned it before and kind of swap sides a little bit, but Junker Queen maybe could be able to get through and brawl. Quaza trying to find anything here. 71 to a EMP. Something to keep an eye on in the future. Flighter Weevil onto the objective, popping Shout, trying to find any sort of opening. Hack on a Saucepan, able to force him out a little bit, and Flighter Weevil finds tempo. Ditto Web able to pick up a trade onto Invert though.
Missed drop. That's a rare. It's a rarity.
Yeah, but Montreal is still in firm control at this point. You got to be really careful. We're at 85% here. This is last fight. Detroit trying to find any sort of opening here. It looks like Quaza's the only person alive, and yes, he has that EMP, but I don't know what solo Sombra's going to be able to do. But Monkeel finds 2! Where did that happen? It's so interesting to see that POV. Quaza pops the EMP here, trying to force out the Sigma. Gets him very low. Invert able to pick up tempo. Oh, man. And that's a huge play from Monkeel. I don't know where that fight was happening. Crazy work from the Juno. Montreal has this rally. Detroit coming up on a pulse bomb and an orbital ray. That'll be key here. Detroit trying to win this fight. Misses, but rally is in. Quaza able to pick up the Juno before the fight starts, and Genji goes off the map. I don't even know how that happens. Flatter Weevil able to pick up Saucepan. Orbital ray committed. Maybe you didn't need it. You already had 2 dead. Ends up winning the fight for Detroit. 66% and counting. Brig goes off the map.
Resets.
And a little bit of a reset here. Montreal might get one more touch. Have to keep an eye on where this Genji is. Genji might be able to get a sneaky touch here to force OT. 87% and counting for the side of Detroit here to try and extend this map and force it into the last objective. And they end up finding Lycus. It looks like they might be able to hold. Detroit brawling on the objective. Adam with another pick on the Saucepan. This Kiriko is throwing kunais. You gotta watch out for her. Sombra in the backline, able to pick up tempo. Big EMP, but you already had 3 dead. Oh no! You win the objective, but you might have wanted that for the last point here.
Next flashpoint ruins.
Now onto the ruins.
Kick you over there.
This is do or die.
Do or die for Detroit here. They don't have that EMP anymore. They're playing off of a Curie Rush and a
Did I scare you?
Queen ult, which, to be fair, are very, very strong ultimates, but Montreal has a Blade and a Death Blossom of their own to try and counter. Quaza in the backline, forcing out this Kiriko as much as you can, falling dangerously low, but they're able to get onto the objective. Saucepan, 20 HP in a dream, trying to get out, ends up forcing Wraith. And can stabilize. Saucepan trying to find anything, but Quaza ends up winning the 1v1 again. This Sombra is being demonic. Quaza trying to find anything else onto this Genji and is able to pick it up. Monkeel and Flatter Weevil forced down the front line. Tell me another early flip from Detroit. Maybe it didn't even need the EMP. They still have this Queen ult as well.
They hold the Queen ult, they may be able to get everyone.
This Sombra is causing a lot of problems. If she's able to force out the Suzu early here, this might be the map.
I totally agree.
Gil trying to find any sort of opening, but oh no! Lycus able to get a trade onto Quaza. Oh, Ditto Web's Flux goes wide onto the Queen. That's not exactly what you want to see in this high pressure situation. Ditto Web trying to find any sort of opening here, but Monkeel able to pick up Helios. Saucepan able to trade up Monkeel. So only the Queen alive. Queen presses ult! It's too late! She ends up losing it. And with a big Blossom to end up killing the Queen. Saucepan with 2 crucial kills at the end of that objective. And Montreal gets the flip. Oh man. This is going to come down to the wire. Detroit at 98%. It's do or die for Montreal.
And that Queen didn't press. If that Queen should not have pressed Q, in my personal opinion.
No, it's too late to think about that now.
Yeah.
Quaza 85% to an EMP. Both teams have orbital ray, and they're probably going to mirror. Invert, big stick onto Helios. That's a huge opening pick for Detroit. I think Montreal might need to dump some ults here. Lycus popping the Blade into the Kitsune Rush. Trying to find any sort of opening with Quaza. This EMP, trying to find anything else. And Detroit is all red in the kill feed. Lycus, last member alive of Montreal. It's not going to happen. Detroit.
It's going to do. Wait, hold on, one touch? Nope.
Big win. Big comeback. Detroit wins the series 3-1 on Suravasa.
Play of the game.
Yeah. Quaza's Sombra is kind of underrated.
Yeah, I think that the Sombra swap from Quaza, I said it again and again. I don't think that Sombra is like a character that people are considering like very, very popular right now, but it looks like it's working fantastic for them. Quaza on the Sombra is causing a lot of problems in the backline, and you could totally see it. The map, the momentum swap. I think that was a really, really good look for them. And it's a well-deserved win from Detroit. Very, very gritty on that last map. They had to work for it. I think there's a lot of mistakes for both teams they could clean up. I don't think that Montreal should look at this in any way, shape, or form as a like a bad thing. I think that they had a really, really good look for their first match as a team, and it's week 1. There's a lot of time to clean up everything that you can go back, watch the VOD, try and figure out what you want to do for the rest of the season. I think that for Detroit though, I think that Invert, Quaza, Flatterwheel, all of them had a fantastic series after map 1. Maybe it just takes them a little bit to come online, but I think that they should be very, very optimistic moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. Saucepan and Lycus are probably the more underrated people to look at in terms of Montreal.
Yeah, I like I said, I think that both teams had a pretty good showing. I think that there's a lot of little things you could clean up, and I don't think that all of the maps were close. Except for Rialto, where I think that Flatter Weevil had an excellent performance on the Winston, and I really do think that they should look into playing that a little bit more. I think that they had a great job. But as far as I know, that's the series, and I think that both teams had a good showing.
Yes. That's all I can really say.
Alrighty then. Well, from us at UR, I believe that is the conclusion of our stream. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.